Madam Mayor, Counselor Garrett, Counselor Seymour are both online, as well as Henry Hurley from the LCOG who will present tonight.
And we can also ask questions of Rhiannon from DLCD.
Yes.
Oh, I'll call the meeting to order, and we will have the invocation will be by Mary Wilson from Restoration Worship Center. If you'll please stand. Up the podium. Sure.
Father, in the name of Jesus, we just thank you for the city abandoned. We thank you for the ability to come together and voice our concerns. And thank you, God, for giving this council and the mayor wisdom to handle these matters. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. We'll have the council president leave in the.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item is the Greater Bandon Association. I think Harv has an announcement.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, our volunteer of the month could not make it this month, but I do want to announce that Larry Langenberg is our volunteer of the month. I think when you talk about service, it's not just his service in the Army, in being deployed in Afghanistan, Iraq, Bosnia. Larry was in all those places, but as you know, service-wise, he's been a big part of VFW, part of the Masons, part of the Chamber of Commerce, volunteered there. I think, Chris, when you and he were on the board. From the standpoint of service, you basically can't go much further in terms of the various different organizations that he's been involved with in Larry Langenberg, and certainly this past 4th of July in costume, those of us had a chance to hear the Declaration of Independence, and quite honestly, I memorized so much of that in the first part in the first or second grade, and didn't realize all the rest that was there. So appreciate Larry for sharing that with the community. Anyway, well, we'll either present that next week, or there's many organizations that he belongs to. We will make that presentation there. But Larry Langenberg is our volunteer of the month.
Thanks. Thank you. The next is the consent calendar items. Is there anything in there that anybody wants to bring out to discuss?
I would like to comment that I noticed that the credit card stuff now is attached to a department, which is a good start there, and I appreciate that. Oops.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve the consent calendar.
Then moved by Josh, seconded by Jerry to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the public hearing for Appeal 2610 Conditional Use Permit, 5th Street Southwest Geotechnical Site Evaluation in the Beaches and Dunes Overlay Zone. I declare this hearing open at 7:04 practically eating it. I declare this public hearing open at 7:04 on August 3rd. And this is an official public hearing before the City of Bandon City Council regarding an appeal of 26010 conditional use permit, Fifth Street Southwest geotechnical site evaluation in Beaches and Dunes Overlay Zone. Official notice is hereby given that the City Council may consider laws, ordinances, court decisions, and other applicable authorities without them being formally introduced as evidence into the hearing record. A copy of the minutes of this hearing will be available at the city offices. A copy of those rules and procedures being read is available at the city offices as part of the official record. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to challenge whether it is proper for the City Council to hold this hearing? Are there any council members present who wish to declare ex parte contact, a site visit, a conflict of interest, bias, or any other reason they should be disqualified from participating in this hearing? Okay. Anybody else? All right, I will declare that I sought foredoomed information from an Oregon Parks and Recreation Department employee, and I referred to 6 or 7 documents on the jetty that are in my files, including the report on the South Jetty that was done by Cheryl Bremer, I think in 2016. I also looked up the assessed value of the parcel through the assessor's website, and those are just some of the things that I may share during my testimony. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to challenge any council member's qualifications to participate in the hearing? If not, we will have this staff report.
Good evening, City Council, Madam Mayor. I'll be providing a staff report tonight for this appeal. I did prepare a few slides. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for just a second here. Just checking that you can see the slides on your screen there.
Yes.
Okay, great. So my name is Henry Hurley. I'm Associate Planner at Lane Council of Governments. I was at the Planning Commission hearing for this application, but prior to that, this application was before the previous planning director back in April. So I took this over during May Planning Commission hearing. So kind of a history of how we got here, where we are tonight. The application was first received by the city on January 21st of this year. The first hearing was in front of the Planning Commission on April 23rd. That hearing was continued to May 28th, and that's when I picked it up. And that same night, on May 28th, is the night that the Planning Commission passed a motion to deny the application. We received the notice of appeal by the applicant on June 17th. And then tonight, August 3rd, is the City Council hearing for appeal. The Planning Commission based their denial on the applicant's failure to meet 16.12.040E, which is the characteristics of the site are suitable for the proposed use, considering size, shape, location, topography, and natural features. I also put in here the actual motion that was made and the ayes and the nays to show you that that was indeed the criteria that the Planning Commission relied upon to make their decision. As you saw in your packets, the applicant did submit a notice of appeal, and they raised 3 issues in their appeal. The first one was the nature of the denial that was raised after the public hearing was closed, and they were not given a fair opportunity to respond or address the criteria. Well, even if that were the case, the fact that we're here tonight for an appeal on a de novo hearing, which I'll get to in a second, that allows the applicant to cure that. A de novo hearing is a new hearing with new evidence permissible. So if they felt that they didn't have an opportunity before to address the criteria for which they were denied for, then they absolutely can do so tonight. The second issue raised by the applicant, the area currently being referenced by the Planning Commission is currently the public right-of-way and the extension of 5th Avenue Southwest. It is currently within the city's road inventory and could be built out at any time if the city deems that action necessary for the overall public benefit of the public. There's not really anything for me to respond there. That's more just of a statement. It is true that the property does abut that right of way and it is unimproved. And lastly, the applicant cites their very detailed two-page letter from a registered licensed engineer that outlines how impacts will be minimized when carrying out the activities. That is true. That was submitted in front of the Planning Commission in May, and that is in your packet. And the content contained in that letter seemed to satisfy the Planning Commission's questions that were raised back in April. So as I said, we'll get to this in a few slides, but I do recommend this hearing be de novo because we already have received new information and new evidence. So ahead of tonight's hearing, we've received comments from Carol Scheitzer, and apologies for any mispronunciations, Drew George, Jill and Dan Pettigrew, John Dittrich, Pat Tracy, and the Scheitzer Family Trust, and all those comments are in opposition to the application. The applicant submitted the notice of appeal itself, which is in your packets. And along with the notice of appeal, they've also submitted a right-of-way public works permit request for access and the civil improvements for Fifth Avenue to obtain that access. All new comments that were submitted for this hearing and all previous comments that were submitted are all contained in your packet. Now, I have a few things I just want to kind of point out and clarify at the outset. And these largely came from the comments that were received. So I'd just like to kind of clarify a few things. The property does have a Goal 18 exception, and that is adopted in the abandoned comprehensive plan. That is true. That is the case. You can see here, I literally copied it from the abandoned comprehensive plan. Subject property is Lot 3, Block 35, and that the city council at that time made that decision, and they took a goal 18 exception to that parcel. So this property does have a valid goal 18 exception. The Fifth Avenue unimproved access. The drilling on the subject property, it was raised at the last hearing that it may be premature because in order for the applicant to get access to the property to improve it, they would need approval from the city council to make those improvements to Fifth Avenue. After the previous hearing and reading the comments, I do recommend that this application be adjudicated in either way, and then the city would move on to reviewing the right-of-way permit. Like I said, they have submitted that permit. To date, no action has been taken on it. But also, most importantly here, the Goal 18 exception, yes, it is valid and existing for the property itself, but it does not include any work in the right-of-way or anything beyond the boundaries of that property. Whether or not boring is necessary to achieve the intended result, whether alternate means may achieve the intended result, maybe. Bandon does not prescribe any, particular method be utilized for subsurface exploration. It is left up to that individual geotechnical expert. They dictate what they see best fit for that property. So now I'll talk about the de novo portion of the hearing. So Bandon's code is a little interesting in this way that on appeal, it seems the city council has three options with respect to appeal and how they hear it. The first one being restricted to the record of the decision being appealed. The second, limited to the admission of additional evidence on specific issues that the reviewing body determines necessary for a proper resolution of the matter, or a de novo hearing on the merits of the appeal. Like I said, I would recommend a de novo hearing, which is a new hearing allowing any and all new information. And one reason I recommend that is we've already started receiving comments, just after the appeal was submitted. If the hearing were not de novo, those comments would be rejected because they would be new information. So now I kind of want to shift to the application itself. I suspect most of you, if not all of you, are quite familiar with the application and the property in question. I just wanted to point out a few things here. So what they are actually requesting as written on their application is geotechnical borings and light brush clearing. And the image you see below that is the site map of the property. And you see the outlines of the parcel, and then the white area is intended to be potential access, and then the B1 and B2 are the potential test pits that the boring would occur in. The reason that you're seeing this application tonight and that it was submitted and the planning commission, heard it, is because the previous plan director classified this as other development, and drilling operations include other development. Therefore, that's what triggered the need for a conditional use permit. So as I said earlier, the property does have a Goal 18 exception. It is Lot 3, Block 35. Therefore, it's eligible to be developed for residential purposes. But like I said, it's just limited to the property, nothing in the right of way. And only that lot has the exception. The parcel in question is approximately 40 feet by 94 feet. And you can see it here outlined in red. That's Block 35, Lot 3. So now I'm going to talk about the criteria for the conditional use permit. So as I said, I picked this up in May, so I was kind of working off someone else's work from April. The one thing I noted here, the finding, and this is for section 17.24020, and this is the zone control development 2. The findings here, it says, please note that permitting any future development of the site shall be conditioned to comply with a current dune survey to ensure that development avoids any identified foredunes. Well, when I reviewed the record, I did not see any condition related to this. So, and it was not in the planning commission record either. So if the decision were overturned and approved and the application were approved tonight, I would absolutely recommend adding a condition addressing this finding, because it seems like it was not added before. So the planning commission, these are the criteria in which they reviewed and based their decision on. The ones that I put in green, the planning commission found those to be met. The findings that you see in the staff report for tonight were not changed. However, you need to get all of them green in order to be approved. The one marked in red, E, that criteria was not met. And that is what planning commission used to base their denial on. The planning commission determined that the site is not suitable for the proposed use when considering its natural features, specifically the active foredune and existing vegetation. So if this application, if the planning commission's decision were to be overturned and the application approved, this is the criteria that would have to be overturned, and a new finding for would have to be written, finding that this now is met. Again, this is kind of the same thing I just went over. This is from the staff report that I wrote for tonight. And this is showing you that criterion E is the standard that the planning commission found not to be met. And the city council, whatever decision they make tonight, they can modify any findings, or they can add or remove any conditions of approval. to support a decision. So these are the conditions of approval that were presented to the Planning Commission. If the City Council overturns and approves the application, again, like I said a few minutes ago, I would recommend you add that one condition regarding the active foredune map. And then just a few other comments for context to how we got here. So what the applicant is really trying to do is already exempted by Bandon's code. Exploratory excavation is technically exempt from requiring a full geological assessment review under city code. So this kind of creates a practical dilemma central to the appeal and the application. Like, how can a property owner or geotechnical professional even begin to assess the overall site suitability if they cannot conduct preliminary exploratory drilling necessary to evaluate the conditions? Additionally, at the Planning Commission hearing, the issue regarding access was raised. While the property does benefit from Goal 18 exception, it does not extend to the right-of-way. And related to the previous Planning Commission meeting, it was also discussed the sequencing of these applications. I should say application, because at that time, there was no right-of-way permit application submitted. So it kind of is what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Does the applicant first solve the access issue and then move on to boring? Or is it the other way around? I'm of the opinion that, like I said earlier, this application be adjudicated either way, and then the applicant and the city begin to address how that portion of the street can be improved, and whether or not the city will allow it to be improved. Any decision made by the city council can be appealed to LUBA within 21 days of that decision becoming final. In this case, means when the decision is reduced to writing and signed. So your options tonight, you can affirm the denial. You would essentially reject the appeal and say, Planning Commission, yes, you are correct. The applicant did fail to meet that standard cited there. City Council can overturn it, and they would have to issue a new finding that shows that it's now met. Or City Council, if they feel they need more information, they can continue the hearing to allow for that. And as I said earlier, the City Council has the discretion to modify any of the findings and or conditions that support their decision. That's all I have, and I'll turn it back over to you, Madam Mayor.
All right, I think before we proceed, Henry, I think we need to take a motion that we will be holding a de novo hearing. Do I hear a
Okay.
motion?
So moved.
It's been moved by Bear, seconded by Jerry, that we hold this as a de novo hearing. All in favor? Aye. Unanimous. I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. The hearing will be conducted in an orderly and courteous manner. When it is your turn to testify, please come to the podium, speak clearly, and state your name and address for the record. The appellant will be allowed 20 minutes to present. Members of the public who have signed up to testify will each be allowed 3 minutes. Individuals participating via Zoom may raise their digital hand and will be recognized by the city recorder when it is their turn to testify. After all the testimony has been received, the appellant will be given 10 minutes for rebuttal or follow-up testimony. The city council will then close the public hearing and deliberate. For land use hearings only, failure to raise an issue with sufficient specificity to afford this decision-making body and the parties involved an opportunity to respond precludes an appeal to the Oregon Land Use Board of Appeals, LUBA, based on that issue. Does the applicant wish to, or the applicant's representative wish to begin? Okay, come on up to the front.
Hello, my name is Mike Golden and I work for Cascadia Geoservices. And I am going to read a statement for the record that I believe has been provided to y'all, but I'm going to read it. It's from Thomas McIntosh, who's been assisting the applicant and who isn't able to be here today. Mayor and members of the City Council, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm a representative here for Thomas McIntosh, who resides at 321 Will Way in Winston, Oregon. He's been assisting the applicant, preparing and property owner through this process and their land use representatives. First, I would like to thank the city staff and the city abandoned for allowing us to do this and for their time. We respectfully request this appeal be heard before Your Honor, the mayor, and the city council. The council has probably become aware at this point that the subject property has a Goal 18 exception. That means it should be treated like a normal residential lot with the underlying ability to build a residence. This goal does not ask the city to create a new Goal 18 exemption. It asks the city to recognize the property and apply the Goal 18 exemption that already exists for this parcel, and to approve a limited geotechnical investigation needed to obtain reliable site-specific information. The existing Goal 18 exemption. The city's own staff report states that the subject property contains a Goal 18 exemption adopted in the Bandon Comprehensive Plan. The report identifies Lot 3, Block 35 as one of the 3 vacant lots in the South Jetty area that the city determined were committed to the development when the Bandon Jetty Sewer Improvement District was formed. The Goal 18 exemption is therefore not speculative, temporary, or pending. It is an acknowledged component of the city's comprehensive plan. The council is not being asked to disregard coastal protections. It's being asked to apply the city's adoptive plan consistently and give the existing exemption its intended legal effect. The public right-of-way and access. The staff report also recognizes that the subject property is accessed by 5th Avenue Southwest and that the abutting segment is a public right-of-way that is currently unimproved. The fact that the right-of-way is unimproved does not mean that the parcel has no legal access, nor does it invalidate the parcel's Goal 18 exemption. The city may regulate work within its own right-of-way and may require a public works permit, engineering plans, safety measures, restoration, and other reasonable conditions. Those requirements are separate for the question of whether the parcel has a valid Goal 18 exemption. A permit process for right-of-way activity should not be used to erase or nullify the underlying exemption. Purpose and necessity of the geotechnical borings. The proposed borings are not construction of a residence, permanent grading, or an attempt to bypass future land use review. They are temporary investigative activity intended to gather the technical information needed to determine whether and how the property may safely support future development. The city's concerns involve the dune condition, soil stability, erosion, site suitability, and potential impacts to natural features. Those issues cannot be evaluated responsibly through assumption alone. Site-specific geotechnical data is the most direct way to replace speculation with competent engineering evidence. The city staff report acknowledges that the subsurface boring is an acceptable method of exploration and that Bandon's code does not mandate a single investigative technique. The report also explains that the choice of methodology is left to the professional judgment of a qualified geotechnical expert. Denying access to the very testing needed to evaluate site conditions creates a circular result. The applicant is asked to prove that the site is suitable, but is prevented from collecting the information necessary to make that showing. The proposed work is limited in duration and scope. The record describes 2 approximately 4-inch borings anticipated to be completed in 1 day, followed by backfilling and restoration. The work may be conditioned to require hand clearing, avoidance of significant vegetation, a site access agreement, a management plan rather, professional oversight, city monitoring, restoration of the boring locations, and a separate public work permit for any activity in the right-of-way. Approval of the borings would not predetermine approval of the house, driveway, street improvement, or any future development applications. It would only allow collection of the information needed for those later decisions. Future development would remain subject to the city's zoning, hazard, dunes, floodplain, engineering, access, and building requirements. Consistency with the approval criteria. The city's own staff's findings concluded that the proposed drilling activities with conditions satisfied the applicable approval criteria. Staff found the work short-term and minimally invasive, and then found it would not substantially alter the surrounding area's character and recommended approval with conditions. Planning's Commission denial rested on concern that the site's natural features made it unsuitable for the proposed investigation. Respectfully, the investigation is the process by which the actual characterization and suitability of the site can be determined. The more reasonable and evidence-based approach is to approve the limited investigation with enforceable conditions that protects the foredune and public right-of-way while allowing the city to obtain better technical information before considering any future permanent development. Response to the opposition testimony. The applicant respects the concerns expressed by neighboring residents regarding the active foredune, erosion, vegetation, coastal hazards, and the long-term implications of possible development. Those concerns deserve careful review. However, the question presently before the council is narrower, whether a temporary, professionally directed geotechnical investigation may occur under enforceable conditions. The pending application does not authorize a residence, a permanent driveway, or any other permanent development. Opposition testimony frequently addresses the possible effects of a future house, road, foundations, pilings, sea level rising, flooding, tsunami risk, and cumulative development. Those matters may be relevant to later applications, but they are not approvals requested in the planning file number 26-010 CUP. Approval of the borings cannot lawfully be treated as approval of future development, and the record confirms that any future proposal would remain subject to appropriate geologic land use, building, floodplain, right-of-way, and other applicable reviews. Concerns that the drilling equipment may damage vegetation or the foredune can be addressed through conditions rather than outright denial. The proposed work is limited to 2 small diameter borings anticipated to occur in a single day. The record provides for hand clearing only, avoidance of significant vegetation, verification by a licensed geotechnical professional that the access area can support the equipment. The argument that geotechnical work should be denied until the site is already proven suitable reverses the purpose of a geotechnical investigation. The borings are the means by which a qualified professional obtains the subsurface information needed to determine suitability, hazards, and appropriate engineering methods. Denying the investigation because the subsurface conditions are not yet known would prevent the applicant from obtaining the very evidence the city says is necessary for an informed review. Finally, public concerns, while important, is not as substantial evidence that the 2 temporary borings will cause unacceptable damage. The record should distinguish between generalized concerns about eventual development and evidence concerning the actual scope of the application. The applicant has supplied professional information addressing equipment access, limited vegetation disturbance, backfill, and restoration. The city's own staff originally concluded that the applicable criteria could be satisfied with conditions. A conditioned approval is therefore the more proportional response to the opposition's concerns. For those reasons, the opposition testimony does not provide a sufficient basis to deny the limited investigation work when the identified risk can be addressed through specific enforcement conditions. Requested action. For these reasons, we respectfully request that the City Council grant the appeal, reverse the Planning Commission's denial, and approve planning file number 26-010 CUP, including the conditions proposed by staff and any additional narrowly tailored conditions the council finds necessary to protect vegetation, the active foredune, and the public right-of-way. Granting the appeal would recognize the parcel's existing Goal 18 exception, preserve the city's authority over its own right-of-way, and allow a qualified professional to collect the site-specific evidence needed for safe and informed future decision-making. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. June, do we have people signed up to testify? Okay. You want to tell me who they are?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry. Sally?
Sally Drakowski, and I'm a resident of Bandon, and I'm here as a citizen. As a citizen, I feel that the right-of-way was not part of the exception, and the past agreement about the property itself is not a concern as in this meeting, and I'm aware of that. But the right-of-way itself is something that I'm concerned about, and many of the neighbors that have given concerns and documentation and testimony about are things that I believe are valid. And I just hope that you're able to support the planning commission decision.
Thank you.
John? Right? John Dietrich, you wanted to talk? Yeah? Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. I'm John Dietrich and live at 522 Madison Avenue Southwest. I've urged the Savannah City Council to uphold the Planning Commission decision to deny application 26010. I believe the Wilson Trust application to drill and bore on the BDO was premature, predating any application to open and improve the Fifth Street right away. If the City Council would deny such an application, then access up the unimproved Fifth Street right away to bore and drill, and the resulting disturbance to the fragile Advocate Fortune would be unjustified and unsuitable. The lot exception to Goal 18 does not extend to the right of way. Unless street access is granted, I believe all actions on the accepted lot relating to potential development should be denied. I also believe that continued exceptions for lots on the South Jetty should be re-examined by the City Council. Increased hazards are documented by the Oregon Department of Geology and Mineral Industries in a 2024 resurvey map. The accepted lots on all of 4th, 5th, and 6th Street right-of-ways, unimproved right-of-ways, are classified active Fort Dune. The Fort Dune has been eroding rapidly over the past 10 years. I've studied and documented this to the city. The Planning Department in 2023, Planning Department staff inspected this erosion with officials from Dogami and the DLCD in response to my concerns. I estimate the Fort Dune Ridge has lost 50% of its mass since 2015. Continued exceptions on the South Jetty Fort Dune to Oregon Goal 18 seem illogical and a risk to surrounding life and property. In addition, re-examination of the reason and process for the original exceptions granted in 2011 bear re-examination. Also pertinent to the issue at hand are previous City Council denials of the opening of 5th Street in 2003 and the opening of 6th Street in 2010. On March 26, 2003, a letter was sent to Larry Wilson by City Manager Matt Winkle. This letter said the application to open the 5th Street right-of-way was denied by the City Council. Furthermore, Mr. Wilson was instructed to remove his illegal construction in the right-of-way, which was installed without a city permit. And this letter is attached to my testimony tonight. I would note that additionally, the clearing of the right-of-way for the drilling and boring was started without a permit. And my neighbor and I met the excavator and asked what was going on, and it was only a city public works employee that stopped him with going without a permit. On April 13th, 2010, the City Council denied application by Robert Nudell to construct a single-family dwelling on a lot immediately south of the Wilson Trust accepted lot. This action included a denial to open the unimproved 6th Street right-of-way. In the city's finding of fact and decision, the findings state, quote, staff also contends that the subject property in the street right-of-way is located on a Fort Dune. And approval for opening and extending the street is not allowed in accordance with the Banning Municipal Code and Comprehensive Plan, and therefore the City Council cannot grant the request. Findings of fact are attached to my testimony. Banning Code requires a buildable lot to have a minimum of 40 feet of street frontage. Development of the accepted lot will require that Fifth Street right-of-way be extended 120 feet west of the Madison Avenue right-of-way. This would place the northwest end of the new street only 54 feet from the beach on the seaward side of the foredune. Based on these facts, I believe the denial of application 26010 is logical and completely justified. Thank you to the city's council, and I'm open to any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peggy Powell.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Peggy, pull down the microphone so it's closer to you. Thank you.
Peggy Powell, 540 Lincoln Avenue, Southwest on the Jetty. When I was employed by the Planning Department, findings of fact were necessary to be approved by the Planning Commission before an appeal could be made. The findings of fact for the Fifth Street boring, they were briefly shown as a paragraph on the city's website, but never presented to the Planning Commission for their votes of approval, disapproval, or changes to the wording. I called the Planning Department to ask why the findings were not approved by the Planning Commission. The woman said she would get back to me, but no one ever called. She implied that they were unnecessary as the application had been denied. The findings apparently are now called final order for denial, as shown in last month's Planning Commission agenda for the road conditional use hearing. Their denial findings were approved by the Planning Commission on July 23rd, and appeal period began on July 24th. I'm asking why the Fifth Street findings denial were not presented to the Planning Commission for amendments, approval, and or adoption before an appeal was allowed. My second issue was I submitted 2 email letters to the Planning Commission at the May hearing, which were included in the packet. And I also submitted a 2-page letter, which I handed out with 15 copies to go. And that was not included in either packet. And I just turned it in for a 3rd time. My 2 email, I was not even listed in the packet as comments submitted ahead of appeal hearing for all opposed. My name was not on there. I guess this is sort of minor compared to the issue. My late husband and I here were on the jetty when the sewer was built, and they dug a pit for the jetty sewer station, and went down 20 feet, and it turned into a pond to which the geese went. So if they're going to dig a 40-foot drill hole, they might run into the water table. The sewer prices were very low compared to nowadays. They're in the thousands of dollars, or about $1,200 of a small lot. And at the time, they thought that there would be 2 lots for one single-family dwelling. Well, somehow they couldn't make that happen because many people had large lots and they divided them up. And so
Ms. Powell, you need to
some
finish
people
up.
also had wells and they had to plug them up, and basements were banned. Well, that goes completely against what is being asked for here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, that's all I have for in-house, but I do have Preston Wade on Zoom that would like to speak. Preston, do you want to unmute, please?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, please state your name and your location.
Hi, my name is Preston Waite. My wife Cheryl and I live at 12506 Street Southwest, Bandon, Oregon. We've been since 2019. We have thank you, Mayor and City Council, for allowing me to speak tonight. We have several concerns regarding development requests in the South Jetty. We do request the City Council uphold the Planning Commission denial of CUP 26-010. We also request the city initiate actions to remove that subject lot along with one other lot that had been accepted from Goal 18 in 2011 based on a sewer line built in the 1990s. While the city's reasoning at the time may have been accurate, the continued erosion of the dunes on the South Jetty since 2011 has increased to the point that water breaches them in several areas every year. One area specifically documented as being overtopped is right in front of lot 35, which is the subject lot. In your packet is a picture I provided from December of 2014 showing the water overtopping the dunes by several feet. Now that happens a lot. I just happened to be able to grab that picture at that point. While they've been accepted from Goal 18 again back in 2011, we believe the protections from Goal 18 are being obliterated and allowing any development on these lots. There is proof that the dunes acting as a levee are increasingly eroded, and there's evidence that water is in fact overtopping that levee, continuing to destroy the four dunes directly connected to the lot in question. While there may be some sympathy for the owners of these accepted lots, it's difficult to imagine the harm for all properties that may be affected should the levee fail to the point that water flows into the South Jetty unabated. The city is responsible for the safety of all residences and the well-being of the shoreline. Would that responsibility be met should any building be approved on these lots and the dunes continue to fail? Again, I've provided evidence that water is overtopping. I believe that there's evidence that they can go back to DLCD and remove those lots from Goal 18 exceptions for the safety of everyone concerned. And I appreciate any questions at this time.
Anybody have any questions? No.
Thank you.
Thank you, Preston. Anybody else want to testify?
I have nobody else signed up.
So now is the time for the appellant's rebuttal. I don't think you probably have anything written down or.
I mean, I think I just want to clarify one thing.
Sure, come on up and.
I just want to clarify, the first woman had mentioned something about our borings maybe leaving a pond. And those borings are going to be backfilled after they're done. They're 4-inch diameter holes and they'll be plugged up. There'll be no ponding or anything of that nature. If there's any other thing that needs to be cleared up as far as our investigation, I'm really happy to address that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Does staff have any additional comments at this time?
Yeah, this is Henry. I say a few clarifications. Peggy Powell had asked why the Planning Commission findings did not go back to the Planning Commission. I would say that was staff error and the staffing changes that were occurring in the department. I was not aware that that's how Bandon operated, that they bring all findings back to them for adoption. So I learned my lesson, and as Peggy said, we did bring back the rogue findings to the Planning Commission for review and correction. So I'll take responsibility for that one. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
If no one else wishes to speak, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing in the record and proceed to council deliberation.
So moved.
Oh, Madeline.
Second that.
Moved by Madeline and seconded by Jerry that we close the public hearing in the record and proceed to council deliberation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. I don't know if Archie's there.
Is Archie up there? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Better late than never.
I do have a comment based on pretty much what Preston just said. Because of the council action on several of the parcels on the Fordune, which were denied, and this has been, the Larry Wilson lot has been in their ownership for many, many years, and there have been several attempts to try and build there. And I believe it's time to start the process to remove the Goal 18 exemptions from those three parcels. And I talked to Rhiannon from LCDC or DLCD, and she said there is a pathway forward. It will take some work to do, but based on what we've heard, based on the degradation, the fact that what I learned when I talked to OPRD, Oregon Public Parks and Recreation, the parcels along 8400 and all the parcels along that side of the dune, they are not eligible for protection. So if the levee behind them fails, they can do nothing except, my spokesman also pointed out that if it does take their house and their house happens to end up on the sand, and we know from what's happened on the North Coast, North Carolina, other areas this has happened, there's an extremely expensive removal process. They have no help. And the reason that the structures that were built, I believe, before 1977, if they're along, and most of those are on the North Coast, they have permission. They will be able to put structures, whether riprap or whatever they do, they're allowed. But anything after 1977 has to go for this goal exemption. And they said there's a whole list of them, and it shows right here, the ones in red, they are not even eligible to apply. And the man said, maybe if the owner knew that, maybe then that he would wonder about the process of, also the point, well, I think even if we don't remove the exceptions, development still has to comply with the city's CD2 zone and the regulations, and it clearly says prohibits structures on identified foredunes. That's one of the, and there's no way to exempt that away. If they got the exemption, which those three small parcels did, and it's interesting to note that 8100 is actually about 110 feet wide. This parcel, the only parcel we're talking about, is 40-foot wide, and I believe it's like the west end of it is 62 feet from the beach. And most of what we hear from DLCD and others are that you need to at least be 100 feet. DLCD in some cases urges you to be 150 feet back from the toe of the foredune. And the fact that this is an acknowledged foredune, I don't think anyone's protesting or arguing that this is a foredune. And so it would never get past the CD2 regulation, which is as clear as can be, no structures on identified foredunes. So I think that so we don't have to keep coming back to this year after year. I was here for the Rudell hearing, and it was even larger than this. The opening of Fifth Street, we already put that to bed once. I think that if we look at removing these exemptions from at least the two parcels, but I don't know why we wouldn't include the third parcel also. Why would we have to go back through this? There should be no development behind what's there on the foredune. We've known for years and years, Larry and Marianne Wilson knew that was not, because there's documents, all sorts of documents in our packet here that show it wasn't ever to be developed. And that's why when I went to find out what it was the assessed value of parcel 8100, which is the three lots together, is, I believe, $82,600. So divided by that, you would say the assessed value of the one parcel we're looking at is $27,500. So that's not a real giant taking. That's not costing them very much in taxes. And the degradation, and I think what Preston and several others have pointed out, that once that foredune is breached, it's not going to just impact the neighbors who are here or the Wilson lot. It's going to impact everybody on the jetty. Because if it impacts through an area where you cannot put stabilization protection, which is what OPRD calls it, then there's no way to stop the water from coming in. And my source said the city of Bandon should make every effort not to degrade the Fordune any further. So that's my.
Madam Mayor, Rihanna from DLCD would like to talk to you for a minute.
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead, Rihanna.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, members of the council. My name is Rhiannon Bazor. I'm the Coastal Shore Specialist and Goal 18 Technical Expert for the Oregon Department of Land Conservation and Development. And I just want to make a couple points of clarification. The goal exception that is adopted and valid for these parcels is for implementation requirement 2, which grants it eligibility for both having development, even though it isn't an active Fordune. And because of that exception, it is therefore also eligible for structural shoreline stabilization, which is under implementation requirement 5. So with the one exception, it is then granted the exception for beachfront protective structures, even if it was not developed prior to 1977. And so if it is developed, they would be eligible, but those the ocean setback that you mentioned would still be in place, and there would be other things that would have to be met to show that it was not subject to overtopping by wave attacks or other geologic hazards too. And that would come from a future geologic hazard report.
When we spoke the other day, I specifically asked you if there was a path forward to remove the Goal 18 exemptions, and you seem to think there was. Is that not true?
There is a path to do that. So far, no Goal 18 exceptions have ever been reversed or revoked. To reverse an exception of any kind, including Goal 18, that would be a quasi-judicial process. And so just like how an exception would be adopted as a comprehensive plan amendment or update, and that would have to go through the public hearing process as well, that would have to be done to reverse it. So it would be a comp plan update, and then it would also require proof that the justifications that were used in the initial exception would be null or void or no longer applicable. And so in this case, it was an irrevocably committed lands exception. And so you'd have to prove that it was not irrevocably committed or that any of the other justifications no longer applied.
I have a question. I Googled for hours one night trying to find out how many Goal 18 exceptions there were in Oregon for residential property, and I couldn't find any. Now, I don't know, maybe I didn't look at the right thing. All the structure goals came up. That all up and down the coast, they have gotten Goal 18 exceptions to put structures in front to protect from the ocean. But I haven't found a single one that parallels what we have. Do you know if are we unusual, or are there lots of them? Or are there any of them?
You're correct. Most of the Goal 18 exceptions have been for beachfront protective structures, and not as many for specifically development, and then beachfront protective structures on top of that. We do have a list of those. We recently had a public records request to compile all of the Goal 18 exceptions along the coast. So we do have that data available. You're correct, it is not publicly available on any website right now. We just had to pull it all together. So we can supply that as needed.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, I mean, I think that we're ready to uphold the Planning Commission. At least that would be my druthers.
I definitely will uphold the Planning Commission because I'm.
Microphone. Thank you.
Do you want a motion?
Oh,
Let's hear from Bear.
Do you want a motion?
Well, wait a minute.
Let's hear from Bear.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that the matter of the exemption, the exemption was so many years ago, and things have changed since then. And actually, if somebody thinks that something that you do 30 years down the line is or from something 30 years past, that nothing has changed enough to make a problem, then I would, if they do get approved, I would put into, a condition in that they guarantee that nothing will happen for the next 30 years. And, you know what? I'll bet they won't do it. And, the other thing is that I have seen the armoring of, the shoring of shores, you know, riprap and stuff. It's horrible what it does to the beaches.
To the beach, it is.
I mean, onshore currents or longshore currents are just interrupted and sand is pushed everywhere. And sometimes it will save that particular lot and then blow everything else out around it. And they're horrible things. And actually, if you look down in where I first saw it was down in Florida, where they tried to, you know, for all the tourist beaches, they tried to, you know, put jetties out and add sand and everything. Didn't work, made it worse. And so I don't see that as being an issue here at all. But no, I do think that the exemptions were made so long ago that they have no bearing on today. And if we can, I'd like to get rid of them. If not, I see the only thing we can do is deny access.
Exactly. So do I have a motion to uphold the planning commission decision?
So moved.
I move we uphold the planning commission's decision.
Second.
Then moved by
Deny the
Barrett, seconded by
application.
Barrett, that we uphold the decision of the planning commission. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Archie? All right, unanimous. That's it.
Okay, so
Henry, what do you
just-
need there?
Yeah, well, I just want to confirm what happened. So the city council passed a motion to uphold the denial based
Yeah.
on the failure to meet that subsection E.
Yes.
Okay. Does the city council wish the final findings kind of affirming the decision be brought back to city council for review and adoption? Or is that something that the city council can delegate to the mayor to review and sign?
Want it to come back? Huh? I can look at it, can
Mhm.
Well, I think the mayor knows what we're all in favor of, so I see no problem
Okay.
with the mayor reviewing it and signing it.
And I'm not sure it'll have much different.
For all of us to review.
Okay, Josh wants all of us to review it. So
Okay.
is that going to be a time constraint problem?
Where are we with the timelines on this
That's
application?
what I mean. I don't know.
Well, okay, so
Maybe Henry knows.
I do know, and give me 1 second. I think it's written on the sack. Go ahead, continue. Well, I'm gonna look for it. I saw it written somewhere.
All right, well, then we'll continue on with the meeting.
I just want to input here. Generally, the way that the Bandon has conducted this is that the findings have come back to the decision maker for final review and vote.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be a public hearing, but the final sign off of the document does come back.
Okay.
But if we're running against a timeline here, that may require a special meeting, or you could vote to delegate the mayor's signing authority.
That's all right. We can have a special meeting if we need to. All right, where were we?
So based on 120 days from January 21st, that date is already passed. It was May 21st. So it's probably not going to mean anything. I mean, yes, technically an applicant, has the right, if the city has not taken, final action on an application within 120 days. It's not like anything automatically happens when you get to that 121st day. An applicant has to take, active action. They have to file for writ of mandamus in circuit court, and it has to be granted. That hasn't happened yet. There's no magical 121 day, it's automatically approved. An applicant has to proactively submit for a writ of mandamus in court.
So
So what I'm saying is you're looking at
What
the
is this
risk. The
being?
risk I would say is relatively low of that happening.
So we'll have a special meeting then, or I don't,
We've already gone past the.
all right, so it
entire
doesn't matter.
Yeah, I've
timeline.
already gone past it.
So then at the next meeting, then we'll look at the findings,
Yes.
Sounds good.
okay? If not, we'll call a meeting if
Sure.
that doesn't work out. All right, what we're here is now Resolution 2616, referring a transient lodging tax measure for the November 3rd election. First reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 3.32 of the Bandon Municipal Code. I will now open the public hearing for item number 4.2, Resolution 2616, referring a transient lodging tax measure for the November 3rd election. Do I have a staff report?
Yeah, me.
Oh, okay. I wondered where you.
Okay, hold on. I have to do this now. Okay, so resolution 2616 transient lodging tax measure is from council advising me that they wanted to raise take it to the public for a vote to raise it to 12%. The city currently has a 9.5 transient lodging tax consisting of a 6% base lodging tax and a 3.5 enhanced service lodging tax. Tonight, council is not approving a tax increase. Council is considering whether to refer a ballot measure to the voters for the November 3rd general election. The measure proposes a 2.5% increase to the enhanced service lodging tax, increasing it from 3.5% to 6%, which would bring the total transient lodging tax to from 9.5% to 12% if approved by voters. If approved by the voters, the increase would become effective January 1st, 2027. Oregon law requires that 50% of the increased revenue be used for tourism promotion and tourism-related facilities. That just changed with the law this last vote. The accompanying ordinance update for municipal code will only become effective if the vote is approved by the measure.
Okay. I'll now open the public hearing if anyone in the audience wishes to testify or on Zoom.
We have one person, Jessica.
Oh, okay.
Hello,
Hi.
Jessica Markham-Brink, Bandon resident. Excuse me. So was reading through this today, and there were a lot of things about it that seemed kind of general, and I had questions about them. And I know that when you put it on the ballot, that voters are going to have questions as well. Talking about the earmarked funds going to tourism promotion and tourism related facilities. And nothing is spelled out, and but it's earmarked. So then the question would be, if it's already earmarked, does it have specific projects that are going to be already planned for it? Or are they going to go forward and just decide on things? Or is it a split between the city and the sorry, I'm losing my words.
The chamber?
Chamber. And I think that it's also interesting that when they talk about what it'll be used for at the city, it talks about city services. And I think a lot of people are going to wonder what those city services are specifically. And also wondering if the money that the 50% that the city gets, is it going to be used for something useful to the community? It's hard to tell from this what the plan is. And I think also there are a lot of things that people would like to see the city thinking about, problems we'd like to see addressed. And I don't know if the voters are going to feel confident about voting something so generally and when they don't know what the money will be used for. If it's just simply for the city to have more money, as we have more hotels, including the one that the mayor mentioned in her As I See It column, somewhere there's been a proposed 85 at the proposed Marriott on the gravel lot adjacent to Face Rock Creamery. And I don't know, and I've actually heard that as proposed anywhere. So, I mean, what are our plans moving forward with all of this? And is it going to be of public benefit? Is it, we're going to raise the amount, it's going to take away the ability of some people to even come here. That's a really high amount.
Well, it's what's like Newport, most of the cities up on the coast. Jessica, what I want to explain is what she read to us is just what the state law says. The state law says that 50% has to go, and we fund the chamber.
Right.
Okay.
You don't do anything with Greater Bandon Association or any other groups that do things with tourism, just the one?
Well,
and
we do through, what's the one, the money that we give?
Revenue sharing.
Revenue sharing.
Right. Which doesn't amount to a whole lot, but
like 25.
I mean, I think that if voters are going to approve something like this, they're going to want to know that we have responsible plans for this money.
Well, see,
real plans.
The other 50%, see, unlike, all right, because I'm asking her questions.
I know. I'm sorry.
In the past, it's 70% has gone to tourism and 30% has gone into the city's general fund. Now the state just changed that to 50-50. So it's a boon for the city.
Is that for the entire amount or just for the enhanced amount?
It's just for the enhanced amount.
Okay.
So
the enhanced amount.
Yeah, and that goes into the general fund. So the police department comes out of the general fund.
Right.
It just.
I mean, I know a lot of the things that come out of the general fund,
Yeah.
but I have questions about city services and, that's just very general that we're not really earmarking it for anything real. Do you have any questions for me?
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else wish to testify about the TOT?
We have nobody else signed up, madam.
Okay. Then I will close the hearing and I'll bring the matter back to the council for discussion.
Well, I think this puts us in line with the other coastal cities along the coast of Oregon.
I agree.
I agree.
Okay. Do I hear a motion for?
I move that we adopt resolution 2616 referring to the transient lodging tax measure to the voters on November 3rd, 2026, the general election, approving the ballot title and authorizing the city recorder to complete all election filings and notices required by Oregon law.
Second. And moved by Bear, and I'm going to let Bear and Josh. Now, this is a resolution, not an ordinance, correct?
Correct. The first part.
Right.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Are you vote? All right, unanimous. Old business.
Wait, I'm sorry. Now you need to do the first reading, right? Is that right, Shayla? The first
Oh.
reading of the ordinance.
Oh, well, that's why I asked if it was an ordinance.
Well, the
Okay,
first
got
one's
it.
the resolution, the second one's an ordinance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, will you read by title only?
Sure. This is ordinance number 1682, an ordinance of the city of Bandon, Oregon, amending chapter 3.32 of the Bandon Municipal Code relating to the transient lodging tax, increasing the enhanced services lodging tax, revising the distribution of enhanced services lodging tax revenue, providing for codification, and providing an effective date contingent upon voter approval.
Okay.
Motion to pass ordinance number 1682 to a second reading.
Been moved by Madeline, seconded by Chris. I'm going to have a roll call vote.
Mr. Anderson, so I can do Zoom. Counselor Powell?
Yes.
Counselor President Adamson?
Aye.
I'm like looking to see who's there. Counselor Purcell? Counselor Sahauer?
Aye.
Counselor Garrett?
Yes.
Counselor Seymour?
Yes.
Thank you.
Let the record show it's been approved a second reading, and we will now have the city attorney read by title only again.
It's ordinance number 1682, an ordinance of the City of Bandon, Oregon, amending chapter 3.32 of the Bandon Municipal Code relating to the transient lodging tax, increasing the enhanced services lodging tax, revising the distribution of enhanced services lodging tax revenue, providing for codification, and providing an effective date contingent upon voter approval.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to adopt ordinance number 1682 contingent upon voter approval of the transient lodging tax measure at the November 3rd, 2026 general election.
I'll second that.
Been moved by Madeline, seconded by Jerry. Roll call vote.
Counselor Powell?
Yes.
Counselor President Adamson? Counselor Pacetto?
Aye.
Counselor Slattery?
Aye.
Counselor Garrett?
Yes.
Counselor Seymour?
Yes.
Thank you.
Let the motion show that 1682 has been adopted. Thank you. The next one, resolution number 2618, amending resolution number 2609, authorizing participation in Business Oregon Bond Bank refunding. Who's giving us the?
Paula, she's on Zoom.
Oh, Paula's on Zoom, okay. Paula, are you there?
Sadie, watch out.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So, Madam Mayor and Council, this and the next item before you are related to the upcoming bond refundings. On May 21st, Council adopted the resolutions approving participation in the upcoming Business Oregon bond refunding. Our details at the time were included, everything that was available from our city records, but once the actions moved forward to bond council, it was requested we update the second whereas paragraph in each of the resolutions to ensure clear authority to refund each loan. So the first one before you is resolution number 2617, which replaces the second paragraph in resolution 2608. Bond counsel requested we include the effective date of April 13th, 2009 and remove the specific project information. All other aspects of resolution 2608 remain unchanged. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve resolution 2617?
So moved. Second.
Been moved by Bear, seconded by Josh. All in favor? Unanimous. Madeline, Archie?
Yes.
Can't see you up there, but. All right, the next one is resolution 2618, amending resolution number 2609. So the same thing holds true, right?
That's correct. This one, originally the city had been approved for funding up to $985,000. Ultimately only needed to borrow $773,084 to complete the project. So the resolution now includes the updated and amended loan agreement that was executed.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Bear, seconded by Josh to approve resolution 2618. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, the next is 5.3, approval of the paving project at City Shop, and I think Kevin's on this one.
She doesn't agree. And be Kevin from the electric supervisor will give the staff report.
That's what I said. That's what I said. That's what I said. All right.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council. Tonight I'm requesting approval of a contract with Johnson Rock Products in the amount of $288,000 to pave our city yard. Currently, the whole city yard is gravel, except a few spots that have concrete. The gravel is becoming increasingly difficult to maintain, and the main problem we have is it goes from a dust hole to a mud hole really quick, and it's really hard to move around all of our supplies with our forklift. It gets pretty bumpy. Our forklifts get stuck in the gravel. So it's kind of a safety issue, and all of our stuff, as you guys know, is very expensive, and we're unloading really expensive stuff, and we don't want to drop anything. Another note on that, when the building was built, all of the drainage was done. So there's catch basins all throughout. So it's all ready. All we need to do is pull out some gravel, put pavement in. So this would be a long-term investment for the city's facilities. You guys have any questions?
Kevin, while
Yep.
when you're doing the paving project, are you guys going to be addressing runoff?
That's what all the catch basins are there for.
Okay.
And this, like it says in here, this is done under a previous RFP, right?
Yeah, so the city went out for a RFP for a paving contractor, and it's a 3-year contract, if I remember right, June. So we're kind of piggybacking that since we already have a contract. And then they gave us a bid. They gave us 2 bids. One was for 3 inches, one was for 4 inch. The 4-inch one was a lot more than this one, so we're looking to do a 3-inch pave.
So this would just satisfy public contracting requirements?
Yes.
Okay.
We jumped through all those hoops.
Okay. We did get a public comment on that from Tom Stadelman. Did you see it?
I did.
Okay.
And he's more worried about the entrance to, the entrance to both the city shop and his business.
From Elmira.
From Elmira, which our yard, I mean, that's just how our yard is now. Just now it's going to be paved instead of gravel.
So now is part of the driveway part of the city, or does it cross Tom's part, or does Tom have one part and you have the other?
I'm pretty sure it's all Elmira right of way. That is our entrance to both places.
Oh, okay.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong on that. Like I said, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
So Kevin, when we're paving, you're going from, I'm looking at the gate when you enter off 11th Street. So are you paving all the way to 11th Street for our part of that driveway?
So 11th Street in is paved to our gate. And then once
Okay.
you get through our gate, it's gravel except around all of the buildings that are there. That's all concrete that's existing.
Okay, so you're going to pave to the gate.
Correct. And it'll just be the front of the building, the side of Project 34, and towards the Chicago right away. We're not going to pave all that back there. That's going to stay gravel. In the back of the building towards 13th Street would stay gravel as well.
Okay.
It'd just be mainly the entrance and where we store all of our transformers and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, Tom, do you want to speak?
Yeah, I'm Tom Stallman. I'm with Havana Supply. And, we're definitely going to have some water coming down Elmira from your guys' property. It's going to flow, into the open portion of Elmira. So I sent a picture of our entrances. So where you see my column and where I typically would shut the gate at night, that's where the public right of way starts. So to the left of that, that's the city. Well, I guess it's a right of way in a way, but it's actually city property because that right of way was vacated. Because the way we mentioned this, we're doing this for safety. My concern is, and it's always been, I've always mentioned this before, is we got this cross traffic thing. So if you were to imagine that column that you see on the city side, that's technically the center of the road.
Right.
So when these guys are going in and out, when they come in, they're going correctly. When they go out, they have to cut across the traffic coming in. So nobody really knows if you're on the other side of 11th Street in Elmira and you're going to cross in there, you can see the city rigs, maybe they're stopped at where that column is. And then maybe I have cars coming through. And nobody really kind of knows who's doing what. Now, the city's been pretty good about not rushing out in front of the cars, but sometimes, when my guys are exiting, so when we exit, we're exiting correctly. But when we're entering off 11th Street, we're really,
right,
in a way, entering incorrectly because of the way this is. So it's my thought, if we're looking at, kind of a safety aspect of spending this money, really we should be putting in the street to the west of the city yard. Then that would be they could go in and out. There'd be no cross traffic because within that area of the open street, I have another business there,
and I have a lot of, people coming in there, people are parking. It's a really bad situation. It's gonna be, someday that there'll be an accident there. And I feel like spending $290,000 and not fixing something that's definitely a safety problem is not a wise decision to make, because it's going to be a problem. Now, originally, when they put 13th Street in, there was a gate put on the other side. That was originally going to be the entrance and exit to the city yards. But you'd have to drive around the block. So it became, well, it's more convenient to go down Elmira, but then that crosses, because when they're coming out, they got to cross across there.
That is.
It's a horrible situation. And I would, if I was, let's say, the second person in there, they say this, my place was the city yard, and I built a building supply where the city yard is, I would never be allowed to do that. And then the other thing is, the amount of water. I'm glad to hear we're not paving behind the city shop and forcing more water. And we have a little issue of the water down Fillmore. It runs across 11th all the time because we got so much water coming that direction. Now, I don't know how much drainage we really have to the west of the city yard. I kind of don't think there's any over there, but I don't know the scope of the paving project, because within what was presented to the council, I can't tell exactly what they're doing. It's like 88,000 square feet, I think is what I saw there, but I don't know what that all encompasses, but
just like front. So where our apron is on that, our larger building, the brown one.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be from that over to the wall to our other two buildings, and it'd just be that area and then out to that gate towards the one you're speaking of. Right. But everything on the 13th Street side, the Chicago side, that'll all stay gravel.
Would you not agree that that this entrance on Elmira is just not a good situation?
It's not the greatest.
It's
no.
not good.
But
Have you guys thought about dividing it? I mean, there's obviously room on both sides with K-rails or barricades of some sort, and just make two separate entrances there?
I don't know if there'd be enough room. It would be tight because they have trucks coming in. We have trucks coming in. I think that would make it tight. But I mean,
with the semis and stuff coming in from each direction, because they're coming around Fillmore and then coming to 11th and then turning. So that takes a pretty wide turn to get that truck. They're not coming up straight up Elmira and coming in. They're coming off of Fillmore and turning with with a semi truck and trailer, or maybe just a long semi trailer. And so that's probably not practical. I mean, it's an idea. We could put some stripes out there, but.
So what is the proposed solution for this problem?
Yeah, because
well, there's two. That you could certainly put the street on the west side of the city lot. There's already a dedicated street there, and it's frankly really close to being ready to just throw some rock down and put some pavement down, and that would be one solution. The other solution would be to go out the 13th Street side, because now we've got a nice concrete street that was put in. I know the city participated in that concrete street because that was going to be their original ingress and egress was going to be 13th Street. For me, the idea is
Richard said no.
Would be
Richard's in the back there, and he was there when that was done, and he says no.
Well, maybe Richard doesn't exactly remember that, but
well,
but he hasn't necessarily been my best friend in the world as a public works director, so I wouldn't necessarily give that a lot of credence.
But anyway,
I mean, at least for this,
I'm just telling the truth.
Right.
At least for this issue, if there's no other discussion, I'd like to make the motion to approve the contract and then possibly bring this issue for further discussion at a later time.
I agree.
But at least approve the paving contract.
And I'll talk to all my guys and the public work guys to make sure they are yielding to everybody coming out of your business. And I want to say we do a pretty good job with when they're always unloading there for the ag store. And I'll make sure that they slow down. They're driving too fast, and we'll yield to everybody.
Josh, you need a second?
I do need a second.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Jerry.
All right, the motion's been made and seconded to authorize the city yard paving project. And authorize the interim city manager to execute the contract for the work in the amount of $288,000. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Archie?
Yes.
Unanimous.
We put it on the slate for a later time to bring.
Good idea. Because it is, I mean,
The ingress egress between the two lots, the abandoned supply and city lot.
Yeah, I'd like to walk out there and look at it.
well, it's just one massive pavement and when you can sit, well, you maybe don't, I don't think they have the picture, but there's no arrows or anything. You just pull in and out. All right, the next one, which we did get quite a bit of feedback on this. The options regarding feeding crows. We have gotten quite a few. June, are you handling this?
Where's Sean?
I did not. I didn't. The city manager wrote 2 reports.
Yes. He wrote the first report and then the second report after he spoke to the person on that report. He changed his thing to adding it to the ordinance. But the question to Shayla is, it's still a songbird, right?
The question is, how do we get crows in there that says it's illegal to feed them?
I think what Mr. Huddle came up with, and I took a look at, I did a little research this afternoon to see what some other jurisdictions have done, and West Lynn actually struggled with this as well. They changed their code to state that birds could solely be fed out of feeders. So that would do away with some of this just throwing crumbs in parking lots. You could only feed them out of standard bird feeders on your property.
I thought
Anything else would be a nuisance.
that that's what our ordinance said. It has to be a designated avian feeder or something like
I
that.
think that what our ordinance does is accepts songbirds in general.
And crows where we found were songbirds. It's hard to believe. I mean, that's an insult to the songbirds, is all I can say, but it's what it said. So.
But even songbirds can only be fed from a designated feeder, right?
Yep.
You can't just cast stuff out there for them.
I'm not sure what our actual ordinance says.
That's what I thought it said, but I could be wrong.
But what we want to do is get it illegal to feed the crows. Except you're saying as a songbird, I mean, as a
Feeder, in a feeder.
Right, and a designated feeder.
Can we put on your property?
Yeah, provided that the food is contained in a feeder, which is reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Designated to avoid access by wild animals and placed in a manner to avoid access by wild animals.
Can we add in there on your property?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. We've gotten some interesting, there seems to be quite a bit more interest in crows in the last few days. In fact, when TV said I thought they wanted to interview about the 5th Street mooring, but no, she wanted to talk about the crows. And I thought that was interesting, but we did get quite a bit of feedback where this one woman says, I walk around town, the city park and the beaches. There are several people in town who also walk and feed peanuts to the crows. It can be dangerous to try to walk near or past these people when the crows are chaotically swarming around these people. I've actually been clipped in the head by a crow swooping at me thinking I have food. I don't like the idea of feeding any wild animals or birds. Please consider adding crows back to your restriction. And Bandon Ace Hardware, the owner, he's had some problems over there and he doesn't like them either. People aren't as happy with them as, well, the more it seems like there's a lot more than there used to be.
There are,
And
yeah.
that's,
The garbage too.
yeah, the garbage is, well, let's see, and that's another thing when we started talking about the real damage that they're doing in the community is that people don't put and even if they do, sometimes their lid opens and there's the wind blows it, plastic bags, they're ripping the plastic bags and the garbage is going all over town. So that's really the biggest impact of these things.
I know last year at McKay's, the wood pellets they had out, the crows pecking into the bags and they got full of water and they couldn't even sell the pellets.
They're
So,
not friendly creatures.
well, they're intelligent and I think they're wonderful, but still, there's no reason to be feeding them
Right.
and creating crowds of them or murders of them. There are murder of crows. Yes.
Yes.
And so there's no
So-
reason to be creating that kind of an atmosphere for the crows.
I agree, but I've yet to see any of these people that have complained saying, oh, this is my neighbor Joe that's doing ours. So how are we gonna
No, that's-
enforce that? That's, you know, I don't know how you
That's-
enforce that. Oh, I was walking by City Park and a bunch of, go out there and cite everybody that lives near City Park. That's.
Well, no, what the city park one was, she said, somebody was sitting there feeding them and they came after me to get more food.
I thought, I have to read that again. I thought she was saying she was just walking through City Park and.
She was in City.
And there was a person feeding.
Person feeding, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that one I can understand, but like some of these other ones, like,
At least it'll make people feel like well, it's just like the seagulls that we've talked about many times. We know we have an ordinance. He's been fined at least $8,000. And now, of course, Mary Wilson in the back there, they have a judgment against him for $45,000. Whether they'll ever get it, I don't know. And it's all about the damage from the seagulls and they have real damage. So even though we have an ordinance, like Chris said, sometimes, but at least if we could just add it in there, I think people would feel better. We could walk up to somebody and say, John, I know you're upset. I don't know. John, come and speak for just a few minutes. You what?
You have 3 minutes.
You have 3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay, well, hi, my name's John Costa, I reside at 859 Chicago Avenue, Southeast. Section 6.24.150 currently exempts crows. It exempts feeding of the crows. And so it didn't used to be this way, but somehow it magically went back to exclude crows under the excuse. So using the songbird classification to exclude crows is a poor excuse from crow feeders. They never considered the physical or environmental damage or health risks by their actions, when other songbird species do not pose these problems. The deer, squirrel, rabbit, raccoon droppings are not being splattered on vehicles, sidewalks, parking lots, or roofs. Crow droppings are. This will ruin vehicle paint and spread diseases that are specific to birds. Hand feeding crows has now altered their natural behavioral characteristics by being much more territorial and aggressive, stealing food, using smell, and much like a spoiled child would. Are we fostering bad behavior? Yeah. Their increased numbers are interfering with the balance of nature by dominating and destroying other species of birds and animals. Restoring section 6.24.150 is long overdue and needs to include crows, specifically the word crows, the way it originally was. There's no reason why not to just turn that over to the way it was written originally. I don't understand. We're just going in some roundabout way to get something different here. And I'm not pleased with it one bit.
do you actually think that by putting the word crows in there, that's gonna stop the problem?
I think it'll help alleviate the problem.
Okay, who do you know that's feeding the crows?
And actually, I know about 5, 6 people right in my immediate.
Have you called animal control on them or?
It's not an animal control, it's a city ordinance problem.
Have you called the police?
No. I called on the city council to do the right thing. It just restored the original code. I've done this for 3 years now and you people backpedal and you just don't want to do it.
Okay, so let me understand. So when the word crows was in there, you didn't have a problem? There was a problem?
Well, I have more and more of a problem because people kept feeding crows, bringing more crows in the area. We don't even have songbirds in my neighborhood anymore, hardly any at all. And I've observed this in a very short period of time, within 3 or 4 years. There's a vast increased number of crows. In fact, whatever his title is from the Abandoned Bird Alliance, he's Joe Leberitz. He totally agreed with me that the numbers of crows, even in the whole coastline, due to hand feeding. So, I don't know. I wish you people would just.
Well, we can put it in there, but like I said, next time you see your neighbor feeding the crows, you probably should call the cops on them then. If you're not gonna call the cops.
No, there's other avenues. I can actually, if it's on the books, that's the problem I'm having. It's not on the books. If it was on the books, I could actually personally get proof that the person was feeding crows and take the person to court myself. But if it's not on the books, I don't have that option.
On an ordinance?
Yep.
You did on an ordinance.
Yep. I talked to planning about this.
Okay.
The other options to do this, you can call the police to do it. If you have a picture, it can stand up in law, and you can find the people. I say, if you find these people in the submission, they might just stop doing it.
But I hope it works for you.
Maybe. I do too.
All right, thanks, John.
Thanks,
Sally. Sally has a comment. Oh, just a second.
Sally Drakowski, Bandon, Oregon. I have bird feeders in my yard. My son and I like to feed songbirds. I can't keep the crows out of them. When you carefully word something, make sure that you make it clear that people who are not intentionally feeding them are not going to be penalized. The crows are a nuisance. My son's trampoline, they poke holes in the plastic and they rip out the filling. I mean, I know they're damaging things and I know they're a nuisance, but we just have to be careful how we handle it.
And it's hard to enforce.
And you don't want to penalize people who aren't even intentionally feeding them. They'll take berries off a bush. I mean, you have to just make sure you're clear on how you word it. Thank you.
Yeah, I can say intentionally. The word intentional could be in there. Intentionally feeding.
Yeah, you better look at that.
You in the back.
You better look at Shayla and get her.
Yeah, you better.
You can come up. Just give your name and address.
Cola Bryant, 991 Ohio Avenue, Northeast, Bandon, Oregon. I'm actually talking because I work at Stillwater's, and our residents are also feeding them because it's not in the ordinance. So we've got them to stop feeding the seagulls, but we haven't got them to stop feeding the crows.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Thank you. Anybody else? If not, we'll go on to public comment. So what did we decide to do about the crows? We don't want to have this come back again. Oh, sure, come on up.
Megan Sweet, 577 Delaware Avenue here in Bandon. I'm just here. I don't have anything prepared, just read, but I'm backing up Mr. Costa on the crow nuisance. He lives one street up from me, and the crows really are there. And we have neighbors that feed, the crows. They put food out in front of their house down the corner. I mean, there's a few particular people that do feed them, and it really is a nuisance.
I agree.
We agree.
We agree.
Is. And I'm going to back up my mom too. They're terrible. And it's not just like personal people, it's like businesses too. Like the 76, there's this lady that feeds them every day, like good peanuts. So, I mean, they're everywhere.
All right. Well, then let's try let's put like Sally, we don't want somebody unintentionally, but intentionally feeding crows.
So then we're gonna go with option 1, revising the ordinance.
Allow the feeding of crows to be, yes. Revise, to include crows as a public nuisance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To cite a person for intentionally feeding crows is going to require a showing of the person's mind as they're doing something. And that is not going to be easy in court to do.
Yeah, but if they're over at a store and they're throwing peanuts out in the parking lot, unless they've got a problem or they're in a circus, I would say they're feeding the crows. I don't see.
You would be right. They are feeding the crows, but is that what they're intending to do? I mean, it just adds an element that we would have to prove in court.
I don't.
Not to say it can't be done, but there would be loopholes.
I say let's try it.
I don't think.
Mary?
I don't think we need to add intend intentionally.
Okay.
I think just feeding
Feeding
crows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, Mary, could we add in there? A lot of people say that's not a crow, that's a raven. So could we?
No, different genus.
I know, but if we're going to do crows, let's do ravens because people can't tell them apart anyway.
I
And they
can't.
do the same thing that crows do.
No.
I do have something to say.
Okay.
Jessica Markenbrink, abandoned resident. I wonder how many of the people who are feeding the crows think they're doing a really good thing for the crows and whether a little bit of education about what feeding the crows does to the crows. I've seen people feed them dog food, crackers. That's not what crows should be eating. So if they understood what their actions are doing, they think they're doing something nice. If they understood that they weren't doing something nice for the crows, would that help?
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Maybe the Audubon Society could help.
I don't know where we are.
We're on council options.
Well, I know where we are,
One
but
or
I
two.
don't find that.
We need
Tell them
to do option one at least and get that in there.
So too.
Exempt crows.
Yeah.
Motion
From-
to approve option 1.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's what we'd like to do. And then maybe we can revise it and then bring it back to us. Oh, for council adoption at the next regularly scheduled meeting. Okay, thank you.
Mary, we didn't vote.
Well, we'll vote on it next month when it comes back.
Okay.
Can you advise, I'm sorry. So you want us to rewrite the ordinance using option 1? Or
Yes.
Yes.
the ordinance using option 1? Thank you.
Please, for John's sake, have the crows in there.
Original wording that it used to be 5 years ago.
Okay, well, I think this'll do it.
This is a start.
All right, now we have all right, now we're going to have public comment.
Okay, hold on.
This has been a good meeting for public comment, but now we're actually on the section that says public comment. Darcy?
No, we have it. Nope, not yet.
What?
What?
For the first comment, I have Adrian. Is it Broadhurst? Okay.
Oh. Adrian Broad.
Hello, Madam Mayor, council members. Adrian Broadhurst, 55279 Rosa Road. We don't live there. We own the property. Just wanted to come and if I can approach and just share a couple things for you guys to look at really quick.
Here, I'll take them.
Now, are you the Breath of Life Housing?
I am. I wanted to come and introduce myself, developer. We do modular construction. And I just wanted to share really quick, if that's okay. We have a vision and a mission. We call it Breath of Life, but really mixed income and mixed ownership model that we do in our developments. So we started a development in Medford. It's under construction. It's got townhomes and it's got multifamily. Some of them are condos and some are for rent. And we found that the communities are embracing that type of a development. It really provides an environment that is able to help people thrive. The type of housing that we've created there has been sought after in several other jurisdictions. We've got a community that we're starting in Roseburg. I think we started back in 2024 in April with Dana, with our first iterations of what the housing could look like, and we've done a couple pre-application meetings and have moved towards that. Our main goal is really to help the housing crisis that's in Bandon. So I wanted to make sure that you guys understand. You have the opportunity to ask questions. We're here to help. We've brought some wonderful solutions. The construction types that we've looked at are using non-combustible materials. They're using things like steel framing inside that hold up to the conditions here at the coast much better, and coatings. All of the modular construction we've selected, not to be confused with manufactured homes or things that have maybe lesser quality, but definitely built above the normal residential code. and aren't subject to some of the stringent workforce conditions. We want to build housing that allows people to come. We want it to be subsidized in some cases, non-subsidized in others. Our mission is to really get people to home ownership. And so we've created a model where you can even rent to own, and we've condos and things like that in the communities with the goal to find paths to home ownership for people. Economic development and community development is a chicken egg conversation, and we are definitely trying to help with both. And I think that starts with having more housing options in the community. I think we've shared a couple. We got a $6 million grant to start the homeownership version. I don't know if the council was aware that we applied for a $24 million grant and an $8 million grant, one with rental housing, one with ownership. We are trying to bring subsidy and state dollars into the community. And I think the more that you understand how we're trying to help, and we can work on those things together. And we've been a very good partner in working with the city through lots of different staff changes to try to get to the point. And I know there's been some work done, and I just wanted to make sure you guys knew who I was. I'm connected with Promised Land Inc. We're a development consultant. We're a developer and a modular construction builder. We're partnered with Turning Point Program. That's a 501c3 nonprofit emerging affordable housing developer. And those are the two that are championing the 16.5 acres over there off of Rose to bring some needed housing. And I'm here if you have any questions. I delivered a couple things just so you can see some versions of multifamily, some different options. I've got lots of different things that people would like to see it, but I just wanted you to see the quality of construction and the things that we're trying to do to enhance the community.
So you're talking about things as like $100,000 and 126. I mean, that somebody could get into a house for $100,000.
Yeah, we've got some plans we've proposed that are 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, and they will range there. They will be able to everything in a multifamily building like that would be condoized, and we will provide both opportunities for rent or for lease to get to home ownership or for purchase, with the ultimate goal to be purchase. So,
And while your time is up, I'm just wondering if we couldn't put him on an agenda so to maybe give us a 10-minute presentation at another meeting.
Mary, I have a suggestion. I think this project is a really good idea. Could we do like a work session for this project, like the week of the 17th?
Well, let's wait and get the planning director and the city manager involved. But then I think, yes, between the planning commission and the city council, that might be a good topic. Are you here or are you?
My wife and I currently reside in Medford. We travel over often and do intend to be part of the community.
Okay. So if we set up a meeting that you would be able to come and give us more of a presentation.
We'd be happy to.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is it Darcy's turn? Oh,
No, not yet. It's Sherry's.
well, maybe, why do they have to go in order? Why couldn't just poor Darcy talk?
They're kind of going off each other.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Oh.
Sherry McGrath. I'm a business owner and a landowner here in Bandon. So as you have met Adrian, we've been working together for about 1.5 years now on this project. He initially started with Dana and Tori in a pre-application, and that drove the development plan that you see or will see. And one of the things I wanted to talk about, because we've been hearing a lot about why hasn't housing been built in Bandon, and it's because it's very expensive to develop. So I've been thinking about some ways where the city can support housing development, and one of them is city-initiated alley and street vacations. So in this case, under the direction of Tori and Dana, it was recommended that we ask for a reduction of a 60-foot wide right-of-way down to a 50-foot wide right-of-way, which is allowed, and alleys to be vacated. Right now, we're held up in our permit process because we're trying to get all those signatures. However, we have 100% of the adjoining neighborhood signatures, which would allow the city to initiate the street vacation, and then we can get there quicker and have housing go in the ground at the beginning of the year.
So my ask is that the city council think about this idea, how they can do this for all housing development, and then also put us on the agenda to initiate a street vacation on our behalf. And I'm happy to meet with Amanda when she gets back next week.
Yeah.
More questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sherry.
Thank you, Terry.
Next, is it Darcy's?
Yeah,
turn?
Darcy can go now.
Hello, my name is Darcy Grayheck, and I've lived in Bandon about 35 years. I run Stillwater Natives Nursery. I shared a letter with you. Before I read that, though, I want to make a crow comment. The crows eat baby songbirds. They're carnivorous, and so if your songbird population is dropping, it's very likely due to the carnivorous activity of crows. So today, I would like to read you this letter to have it in public record. Dear Mayor and City Councilors, last February, I addressed Bandon City Council to announce that Bandon is now on the map as a pollinator pathway town. Oregon has 4, Beaverton, Bend, Milwaukee, and Bandon. Engaged citizens on our southern Oregon coast have led multiple efforts to bring the plight of pollinators forward to be noticed with public art, garden classes and tours, and installation of habitat gardens. Scientists tell us that insects, including pollinator populations, have declined by 45% in just the last 40 years, with certain areas spiking up to 75% loss. This is according to a meta-analysis of 16 different global studies. This large-scale death of insects poses huge threats to our diverse ecosystems and much of our agriculture. I am writing and speaking to you because I represent a good number of our South Coast people who are aiming for a better future for pollinators, a future that includes the insects and birds that help 80% of Earth's plants reproduce. We want to invite you to help us to envision what that might look like in our homes, in our workplaces, and on tribal and public lands. There are currently multiple citizens' efforts that support creating pollinator habitats on their own properties, be they private, community-based, tribal, or public. One how-to guide is the Microhabitat Program Manual, a guide for startups and community-based organizations. In the manual, Tom Chase says, and I quote, "A culture of stewardship is a common set of experiences, knowledges, and values that transcend wealth, ethnicity, age, and other boundaries. It becomes intergenerational. It is more than just a conservation ethic because when people work together, it also influences their commitment to stewardship of family and community as well. Unlike protecting large acreages of wildland, managing microhabitats can be fully participatory." So on September 19th at Bandon Library Sprague Room, we will be hosting a workshop for the people themselves, community, tribes, and agencies to share information on how to bring a pollinator habitat, microhabitat into your space. Please join us September 19th from 10:30 to noon at the Sprague Room at the Bandon Public Library. Registration is required. Thank you.
Thank you, Darcy. I'll put something about it in my column too.
Thank you. Bill Frey?
Good evening, Mayor, councilors, and Bandon team. My name is Bill Frey. I live here in Bandon, and I just wanted to take a few seconds to bring your attention to a letter that should be in your packet tonight about disaster preparedness. Here in the city, we briefly discussed this at our last joint meeting between the council and the planning commission back in May. So I'd ask that the council put on a upcoming agenda an action item to begin a discussion on what Bandon has in place or needs to put in place perhaps for disaster preparedness and recovery. Thank you.
I think I asked June, didn't I ask if that would go on the agenda for next month?
Yes, ma'am. Do you want it on a work session item though, or do you want it on the actual agenda? Because a work session item, you guys would be able to sit down and really talk about it more
That
than
would be
a.
fine.
Bandon's part of the the national mitigation plan, are we?
I believe so.
Yeah. Does that cover disaster preparedness?
I'm not 100% sure.
Take a look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a multi-jurisdictional, so it's all of Coos County as part of this national hazard mitigation plan.
Okay. Super.
So yes, I
A
think
lengthy
it would be a joint meeting. All right, anybody else?
Yes, I'm sorry. Jessica?
Jessica Markenbrink again. I was actually really pleased to hear that someone is planning to build housing with different types and levels of housing in it. Because I think that one of the things in our community that is the most dire importance is that we build workforce housing, that we encourage it by our decisions and our goals and planning at the city level, and that it should be something that is worked for by our whole community. Because right now, there are so many people in our community who are living in some pretty awful circumstances. And I'm not talking about my situation with mold in my home where I would love to move somewhere else while the work gets done, but there's nowhere to go. I'm talking about just the everyday people who live and work in Bandon, and the people who work in Bandon and would love to live in Bandon but have no chance of living here in any sort of dignified fashion. They can't afford anything. They have been priced out of everything, and we have 1,200 people a day driving into the city to work. And many of them, I believe, would love an opportunity to live here. I doubt very much that people decided to move, to the Oregon coast, to live in one city and work in another. So I do hope that this is something that is just the beginning of workforce housing for the workforce that we have here now. And they don't make enough to even have two people go together on most of the projects that have been proposed. So the median workforce income in Coos County, or in Bandon, excuse me, is under $40,000 a year. And I think that we need to make sure that our community stays a mixed community, because the last thing we want to become is a gated community for the wealthy. I want us to stay a real every type of person who contributes to the economy, because we can't keep building hotels and stores and restaurants without considering who's going to be working in them. Those people add to our economy. They are an important part of our community. And I hope in our goals and planning as we go forward that they will be considered. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Jessica.
Thanks. Anybody else?
That's everybody I have signed up. Is there anybody on Zoom?
If not, do we have staff comments? Let's start with you.
I do. If she doesn't, I do.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so just to give you an update, we have 3 applications. I've received 3 applications for city manager position. So our next timeline, according to what you guys approved, is August 10th for an executive session to review those applications. So my question to you is, what time on August 10th, which is a Monday, would we want to do that executive session?
What's good for you? Or,
I'll be zooming.
oh, you zoom in, okay.
Yeah.
You're zooming.
I'm gonna have to.
I'm gonna have to Zoom.
Yeah.
Well, I know you are, but what about everybody else? Is
Afternoon would be great.
1:30?
1:30?
Would that be okay? Time to zoom in?
June, what day did you say?
It's August 10th. It's on a Monday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would 1:30 work, Counselor Garrett?
Yes, that'll work.
Okay, so we're going to schedule that for August 10th at 1:30 to review the applications. And then the other thing I have is I just want to make sure there's so many things that we've been talking about. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything for, I know it's this month, but the next month agenda, I'm already thinking about it. So I have tsunami sirens. Hopefully the rate study will be ready to come back.
Yes.
Is what I'm told. And then the disaster planning, but did you want that as an agenda item or would you like that as a work session?
Probably you think it works.
I'd like to have it as a work session since we're getting together.
Okay.
I
And
think
then
we-
I can get, would we want to put that on the same disaster planning, the same as the Breath for Life work session?
The what?
The housing.
The housing?
Yeah, why not?
Would that work, you think? And
Yeah.
would later in the afternoon be better for that work session?
On what day?
I don't know a day yet.
Oh, yeah. probably.
Yeah, so after 4?
Yeah.
After 4? Okay.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I have is I just want council to think about, with the interim, Mr. Huddle is our interim city manager. We do not have another signing person for checks except for Paula. And she's not in the building right now. So I don't know for 3 months if you want me to put Mr. Huddle on a check signing authority or if you want to have that someone else or just leave it as Paula.
Well,
I mean, that doesn't have to be something you can decide now. It's just something I want you all to like put in your head, like what you would like to do.
Is there an issue if she's not in the building? Is there an issue with her signing?
No, usually we'll have to run him out to her. Or she'll come in if we need him signed. But usually the city manager is the second person, but because he's an interim, I didn't think that would, I'm not sure of how your feelings are if you want someone for 3 months to have that authority. And I don't know what that, if he even can.
I would think that if he's got the full powers of the city manager, that he should have the signing
Agree.
authority.
Yes, agree.
I agree. I can't hear you. You're not talking into your mic.
My mic's not on.
That's why.
He would have to present the motion that's made by the council allowing
Right.
signing authority to the bank.
And-
But I don't believe that there's any limit just because he's interim.
Okay, that's what I just need to make sure. What you
Why don't
guys
we
wanna
make a
do.
motion right now? Can we? Do
Okay.
that?
Yeah.
Why you make it?
I move to approve that we appoint John as a signer for the city of Bandon.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
All right, unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Look at me being all important.
Any other staff? Andrea, do you have anything to say? Okay, city council comments. Bear.
It's good, a lot of stuff going on.
There was a lot of stuff.
And I thought we got through it pretty well.
Yeah.
Pretty well. And thanks to all the people who had comments, even the ones I disagreed with. It's great to have everybody here and commenting.
I have no comment.
Madeline?
I'm just glad to see that City Hall was full of people tonight and how many people came to speak on whatever subject that they wanted to. It's very nice to see so many faces in City Hall. That's it.
I'm just glad that I thought maybe the boring project was going to take hours like it did at the planning commission. So I think we got through it fairly fast with a good resolution. Thank you.
I got a few things. One is I'd like to encourage everybody to attend National Night Out tomorrow night at the city park. Second is I'd like to pinpoint something on your announcement, June, of the city manager applications. I noticed that when we had our packet of where we were going to be advertising, that the city manager position or any of the other positions weren't listed with League of Oregon Cities that I saw. What were they supposed to be on? Okay, because when I saw them, they weren't. So none of the Bandon positions were listed. Okay, I just wanted to double check on that. Second is what is the current procedure with planning commissions appointments when they come up for renewal? Is there supposed to be a reappointment at the expiration of their term, or? what
I
is-
thought they had to reapply.
Well, generally, we just, somebody like Sally that just her term with.
And Tom,
Well, I asked you, remember I asked you if anybody else's term expired and you said no, just Sally. So he's saying Tom also. Like,
I was just looking at the website and both of their terms now expire at the same time, so.
okay, well, that's a good point because I did ask her last week.
Right. So I just wanted to know if there was any formal procedure because it just seemed like nothing came across our desk as far as a reappointment.
Usually we just say if they want to serve like a second term that we appoint them.
Were they asked, or was it just kind of carried
Well,
over?
Sally,
Sally?
Say that I volunteered to.
Okay,
and I think Tom did too.
okay. I
So,
just wanted to make sure that there was
Yeah.
some sort of a procedure, because it would have been something that I wanted.
sure.
The third thing is I would like council's opinion, I guess, on initiating a town hall. Per our comprehensive plan, goal 1, for two-way communication, we're actually supposed to have a town hall every year. The city, as far as I know, in my term here, have not
never-
had one. I would like to know what that process is or how we can get started on hosting a town hall.
Actually, we did have one. I think the first year that Dan was here, we had,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
Yep, we did.
Was that during, was I in a seat then, or was that right before?
I don't know. I think
I
Dan,
don't remember.
Yeah, because as far as I remember in my time here, I don't think that I've been a part of one.
and it ended up, I believe, with the police having to come and escort somebody out.
That's right.
Yes, they did.
It's very acrobatic.
Well, I still believe that it's
But
part of the
yes.
comprehensive plan that we're supposed to have one. And
Yeah.
I do believe that
You didn't come to that.
constituents are deserved for to have a town hall with us, answering a lot of questions that I'm sure a lot of people have.
Sure.
So I'd like to know that process and get that going if we
Were
can.
you in town at the time we had it? Josh, you didn't show up. That's one of the problems with the town halls. Unless there's a special deal going on, nobody shows up.
Well, maybe they'll come.
Well, I mean, it's still good to hold one. I mean, if we're supposed to by our comprehensive plan, it's good to hold one, even if nobody shows up.
Right,
Or
right.
if people do show up and the police show up, I mean, we
Yeah.
at least need to have one every year.
Does
All
it-
right,
Well,
whatever.
would you count the TSP road diet? event? Yeah, there was a lot of people here.
A lot of people
A
there.
lot of great lines, but you probably could.
That was definitely a lot of people.
That's all I have to say.
Okay.
Thank God.
Archie?
I don't think he's on anymore.
Oh, okay. Did you have anything, Madeline?
Already said.
Oh, Sam.
Oh, and I want to
Um,
tell people, everybody to have a great time at National Night Out. I can't go first year, but I hope you guys have a great time.
Chris,
It'll be Madeline's night in.
Right.
Pretty much.
She's
Pretty
been having
much.
a month then. She's had a whole month.
I
Yeah.
hope things are getting better.
Hopefully.
Thank you. Good meeting.
Bye, everybody.